So thanks for sticking with us through our first video series. This is our fourth on neck, shoulder, wrist, and elbow issues. In our fourth video here, we're going to be talking about proper posture for standing upright and also sitting at a desk. While this is probably our shortest content, video content, it is one of the most important because the posture that you adopt throughout the day in your walking, in your sitting, in your moving about has such a tremendous impact on your health in general, the presence of pain, and ease of mobility. So we hope that you are especially attentive here, and let's get started. So when it comes to desk ergonomics and sitting, there are a number of factors that we want to consider. The first thing is how we sit in the chair. And of course this is not an office chair, but still serves the same purpose. The first thing you want to check is, are you sitting so that you're not slouching, back or forward? And the easiest way to find that is to find the two bones that you're sitting on, actually, and roll backward and forward in the chair until you come to a spot where you feel like the vertebrae in your back are just nicely resting down on top of each other through those two bones. This is the proper position forward or backward for sitting at the desk. After that, we want to take a look at height and also forearm and wrist position. So when working at a desk, if you have a keyboard, if you're doing a lot of typing, you want to arrange it so that your forearms are parallel to slightly declined and that your fingers are able to rest and drop into place onto the keys. Now the way you do this, typically you can adjust the chair height up or down appropriately to get your proper forearm height depending on how your desk is situated. If you are lucky to have a desk where you can change the height of that, you can do that as well. For the forearms and arm position for the keyboard, typically there is a wrist rest or something that goes across the wrists to brace them into place where you can rest the key fingers down on the tops of the keys. And if you are dealing with a lot of carpal tunnel pain or other kinds of wrist pain, they do make keyboards that are further down and set down into a large plastic enclosure so that your fingers really just sit down rather than resting. So you drop those into place onto the keyboard. If you're going to be using a mouse, the main point of consideration ergonomically for the use of the mouse is that your mouse motion doesn't just come from the wrist or come from the elbow, but in fact is the whole shoulder, or indeed if you're really focusing on whole body movement, which is important for long-term health, longevity, actually comes from the entire body rather than just small joints, which tend to become repetitive motion issues and tend to cause constriction elsewhere in the body as you tense. The next thing to consider is the monitor height. You want to set the monitor height so that you have a level gaze forward. You're not looking up at the monitor, nor are you looking down at the screen, but that it's steady straight in front of you so that you have a natural sitting position that you're able to maintain for long periods of use. The last thing we want to consider also is for people who spend a lot of time talking on the phone during the day. If you're working with a phone and you have the phone and you've picked up your phone, some people will cradle the phone between ear and shoulder. If they're doing that for multiple hours, often that can be a problem. If they are spending a lot of time on the phone, typically it's a behavior that we stop recognizing or we stop realizing. If that's the case for you, one easy change is to switch consistently from one shoulder to the other, to switch from one hand to the other and not to cradle but to actually lift and sit with the phone with one hand. Or if you are spending a lot of time, considerable hours on the phone, to get a headset, despite what some people think about its visual appearance, can be excellent at relieving pain issues from aggravated shoulders raised up for long periods of time. So all of these things taken together are factors we want to consider when sitting at a desk. Again, we're looking at the height of the desk and the position backward and forward of how we're sitting so that you have a nice, easy, and well-positioned vertical spine. That the forearms are parallel to slightly declined with the wrists and fingers setting down on the keys for a keyboard, that mouse movement comes from large areas of the body and large movements rather than small, and that phone use is not cradled for one shoulder to the next, but is straight, so that the head is erect, and that the monitor height is also appropriate so that your gaze is level. So all of these things are great to pay attention to next time you're at your desk and doing your work.
A lot of times people will tell you that you need to focus on your posture. There's the problem, though, that most people don't actually know what that means. What they think of as proper posture is actually going to be incorrect. So what you can do for your neck, arms, and shoulders is pretty simple. You're going to start by pulling your shoulders down and keeping a little space under your arms. Now when you pull your arms down, you don't want to pull forward, you don't want to round your chest in this way, but imagine there's a slight pressure pushing behind your spine, opening up the chest, pulling the shoulders down, little space under the arms, and when you get into this position, take a nice deep breath and relax into it. From there, you move up to your neck. Imagine there are two strings behind your ears pulling upwards so that it's going to rock your head back over your shoulders. You don't want to tilt it back, and you don't want to, hunch up here, but just rock your head back so it's here and not here or here. And as before, take a nice deep breath, relax into it. And when you have the proper structure, your vertebrae will be stacked so that all of the muscular tension can release and you can hold that frame with just your skeletal structure.
So thanks for watching our fourth video on proper posture and ergonomics. As we said, this is the shortest of ours, but one of the most important for overall long-term health. We hope you had a chance to review all of our 4 videos on neck, shoulder, wrist, and elbow, and that has been helpful for you to give you some insight into your own body and how you can help alleviate and take control of your own health. If you have any further questions, if you are working with a medical provider, we encourage you to take your questions to them. Otherwise, if you are looking for a provider or looking for online consultation, we do plan to be running webinars to cover a lot of this material more in depth, where we can take questions and answers from people. But otherwise, thank you for watching these videos, and we hope that you have a good day.